Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. To continue our example, we have his company example, which preparing the operating budget. We reach to direct labor budget. We finish the sales budget. We finish the budget, which is sales budget, production budget, and direct materials budget in the previous videos. In this video, we will continue and complete direct labor budget and manufacturing overhead budget and see how to calculate cost of the finished goods, the predicted or the expected cost of finished goods per unit. Here, to remember, to recap our example, here we have his company, which has a production budget in the previous video. Remember, we have production budget. We expect that we have a required production units for the next year. The next year we assume that the next year is 2014, not 2021. We assume that the next period, the next year will be 2014, and we expect that in the next year or the next period, we expected to produce 3,100 in the first quarter, 3,600 in the next quarter, 4,100, and etc. The total for the year is 15,400 units. From this budget, we move to direct materials, and we finish the direct materials budget in the previous video. And here we want to move to direct labor budget. To complete or to complete our example, we have the illustration here. Direct labor hours are determined from the production budget. Here the illustration said that the direct labor budget are determined from the production budget. At his company, 2 hours of direct labor are required to produce each unit of finished goods. Yes, okay. We have 2 hours of direct labor are required to produce each unit of finished goods. Then finished goods is the output, and the direct labor is the input. We have 2 units is hours here of direct labor of input required to finish the 1 unit of output, which is finished goods. Here the direct labor, which is one element of the manufacturing elements. You remember that we have direct materials, which we finished in the previous video. Direct labor, the second component of the manufacturing costs, and the manufacturing overhead, the third component. We finished the direct materials and move here to direct labor. Continue our example. We have to complete direct labor, then the manufacturing overhead budget. Anticipated here hourly wage per hour. We must here per hour. We anticipate here that each hour will we pay, the case company will pay $10 per hour for direct labor. Yes, okay. Here the direct labor budget. To prepare direct labor budget, we have his company, the company name, the title of the report, direct labor budget, and the covering period, which is for December 31st to December 2014. Then what is the element of direct labor budget? What are the elements of direct labor budget? Units to be produced. Then units to be produced is the first step here. As we said in the direct materials, the first step, units to be produced, 3,100 for the first quarter, 3,600 for the second quarter, and etc. The same is for direct labor budget. The first step is units to be produced, which is 3,100, 3,600, 4,100, 3,000, 4,600, which will total of 15,400 units. 15,400 units here from production budget, 15,400 units. The total of the units to be produced for the coming year, 15,400 to anticipate. Okay. From the illustration, we must have 2 hours of direct labor required to produce 1 unit of finished goods. This is 1 unit. This is the units of the finished goods. This is the units of finished goods. Units of finished goods. Units of finished goods. Okay. For every unit of finished goods, we have 2 hours of direct labor. For every unit of output, we have 2 units of input. For every unit of output, we have 2 units, 2 hours of input. Then 3,100 units of output of production of finished goods multiplied by 2 units of input, 2 hours, we have 6,200 hours, 6,200 units of input, 6,200 units of input, 6,200 hours of direct labor, total required direct labor hours. Then we multiply units to be produced by direct labor time, hours per unit. Then we have total required direct labor hours. We convert the output to input from units of output to units of input, because this budget is for input, which is one of the manufacturing elements, is direct labor. Okay, we have direct labor budget, and we must convert the finished goods, which is output, to direct labor units, which is input. We convert finished goods, which is output, to direct labor, which is input. We convert the units of output to units of input, units to be reduced units of output to units of input, that is direct labor hours. We have 6,200 for the first quarter, 3,600 multiplied by 2, 7,200 for the second, 4,100 multiplied by 2, 8,200, and etc. 4,600 multiplied by 2. Here we have multiplied by 2. Okay, we have here 15,400 multiplied by 2, 30,800 hours of direct labor expected to be required in the next period. Okay, we have direct labor cost per hour. The cost per hour, we must convert the units of input from quantity to dollars. We have to multiply by $10 per unit, $10 per hour here. From the example, $10 per hour, $10 per hour. Okay, $10 per hour, $10 per hour. Okay, here, $10 per hour. Then we have 6,200 multiplied by $10 per hour, we have $62,000. 7,200 multiplied by $10, we have $72,000. We have 8,200 multiplied by 10, $82,000 and $92,000. In total, we have here $308,000. Here multiplied by, to complete this, multiplied by $10. We have here $308,000. Then this is the direct labor budget. The direct labor budget is like the direct materials in some instances, but the main difference here, we don't have beginning and ending balances. We don't have beginning and ending balances like direct materials. We don't have ending and beginning balances like production budget, etc. Then we can see said that this is much simpler than a direct labor budget. Okay, to move to manufacturing overhead. Manufacturing overhead mostly will be classified to variable manufacturing overhead and fixed manufacturing overhead. Each company expected variable cost, which means variable manufacturing overhead, fluctuate with production fluctuate or to change with production volume on the basis of the following rates per direct labor. Then we have here to notice that we have direct labor hours is the application base. Yes, here we have the application base for the manufacturing overhead is direct labor hour. The application base is direct labor hours. Mainly manufacturing overhead is an indirect cost, which indirect cost we mean that it's not related directly to the production. We must find some allocation rate, some allocation base. We will use the allocation base in calculating the allocation rate. Here, the illustration calculates the allocation rate based on direct labor hours, which means that if any product, if any output uses more hours of direct labor, will have more cost of manufacturing overhead. Here we have indirect materials. Notice that manufacturing overhead related to indirect cost. Indirect materials, we apply $1 for each one direct labor hour. Every direct labor hour we consume in producing or we use in producing the output, the finished goods, we will allocate $1 of manufacturing overhead to it. Okay, indirect labor, $1.40 for each direct labor hour. If our product, our output used one direct labor hour, every direct labor hour will allocate by $1.40 of indirect labor is a component of manufacturing overhead. Then we have 1 and 1.4. Okay, utilities 40 cent. Then we have here 40 cent for every direct labor hour. For every direct labor hour, we have 40 cent. Then we must allocate to finished goods to our output. For every direct labor hour used, 40 cent of utilities. Utilities is part of or one of the components of manufacturing overhead. Maintenance here, 20 cent for every direct labor hour. Then the same for maintenance, but here we have 20 cent. Okay, we must note that we have maintenance here for manufacturing overhead, which is component of variable overhead and fixed overhead. Here we have maintenance. Some maintenance is fixed, which means that maintenance cost is mixed cost because part of maintenance is variable and the other part is fixed, which means that maintenance we consider it mixed cost. Okay, thus for 6,200 direct labor hours to produce 3,100 units of output, budgeted indirect materials are indirect materials. Here we have 6,200 multiplied by $1. Here $1 per hour, then 6,200 and etc. And the budget indirect labor the same 6,000, the same manner 6,200 hours. We have must multiply it by $1.40. Is also recognized some maintenance is fixed. The amount reported for fixed costs are assumed. Here the fixed costs are given in the illustration. Okay, preparing manufacturing overhead budget. We must go ahead for his company manufacturing overhead budget. The title of the report, the covering period 31st December 2014, first, second, third, fourth quarters, and for the year. Here we have variable cost, the first part, and fixed cost, the second part of the manufacturing overhead budget. Okay, we have variable cost, which is indirect materials, indirect labor, utilities, and maintenance. And we have for the first, second, third, fourth quarter, we have to apply these rates: $1 per hour, $1.40, 40 cents, and 20 cents to what? To direct labor hours. Here in the bottom of the report, we have here direct labor hours, which is comes from where? From direct labor budget. Direct labor hours here, direct labor hours. These are direct labor hours. We copy that and paste it where? In manufacturing overhead budget here: 6,200, 7,200, 8,200, 9,200. Why we use these hours? Because the application base of the manufacturing overhead considered by this company, by his company, to be direct labor hours. Then we have $1 multiplied by 6,200 equals to 6,200. $1 multiplied by 7,200 equals to $7,200. We convert the hours to dollars by multiplying by the application rate for indirect materials. Indirect labor, $1.40 multiplied by 6,200 hours. $1.40 multiplied by 7,200 hours. 1,040 multiplied by 8,200 hours. Okay, and etc. We have here $1.40 multiplied by 6,200. We have $8,068. And we have $1.40 multiplied by 7,200 hours. We have here $10,080. $1.40 multiplied by 8,200 hours. We have here $11,048, and etc. The total for the year is the summation of these 4 quarters. For the indirect materials, 30,800, and etc. for indirect labor. Utilities will multiply 40 cents by 6,200. We have hours. We have 2,048, $480, $2,480, and we have 40 cents multiplied by 7,200 hours. We have $2,880, and etc. for 40 cents multiplied by 8,200 hours. We have here $3,280. The summation of these fourth quarter, the summation of these 4 quarters are $12,320. For maintenance, the same manner, 20 cents multiplied by 6,200 hours. We have 1,240. For the second quarter, 20 cents multiplied by 7,200 hours. We have here 1,440, etc. The total for the year are 6,160. The total variable cost, we must sum these amounts. Here we have for the first quarter $18,600. Here we have for the second quarter $21,600, and for the year here we have $92,400. Okay, fixed costs. These figures, these amounts are given. We assume that these amounts are given in the illustration. Okay, then we have supervisory salaries, 20,000, 20,000 for every quarter, 80,000 for the year. Depreciation, 3,800, 3,800, 3,800, 15,200 for the year. Property tax and insurance, we have 9,000, 9,000, 9,000. We have 36,000 for the year. And the maintenance, here we see that maintenance is the mixed cost. Here variable in the variable section and in the fixed section. Maintenance are fixed here in the fixed section, in the fixed cost section. We have maintenance 5,700, 5,700, 5,700, and 22,800 for the year. Then the total fixed cost, for the first quarter equals to 38,500. For the second quarter, 38,500, and etc. The same for the third and fourth quarter. The total of the year is $154,000. Okay, the total manufacturing overhead, the total of total variable and total fixed will be the total of 18,600 plus 38,500, which is $55,100 for the first quarter. The total of variable cost 21,600 plus 38,500, we have 60,100. The total of 24,600 plus 88,500, we have 63,100, and etc. The total of the year is 92,400 plus 154,000 for the fixed cost, have $246,400. Okay, this is the format of manufacturing overhead budget. Here we have finally we have the total of direct labor hours for the first, second, third, fourth quarter, and the total of the year we have 30,800 hours. We divide 246,400 divided by here divided by 30,800 hours. We divide 246,400 by 30,800 units to reach to the manufacturing overhead rate per direct hours is $8 per direct hour. $246,400 divided by 30,800 hours. We have here $8 per hour. It means that for every unit of input, which is here direct labor hours, we must apply $8 of manufacturing overhead in total. Okay, manufacturing overhead in total. Then the $8 is divided to fixed rate and variable rate, which is fixed rate and variable rate. We can here reach to fixed rate and variable rate by dividing 154,000 divided by 30,800 units. We have here 5 for fixed cost and the rest 3 for variable cost. Okay, we can reach to application rate for the variable, which is 3, and for the fixed, which is 5, and for the total, which is 8. Then here in the bottom of this budget of this report, we have $246,400 divided by 30,800 hours. We have $8 per direct labor hour as the application rate for the overhead. If you divide $154,000 divided by 30,800 units, you can reach to $5 per hour for the fixed cost. And if you divide $92,400 divided by 30,800 hours, you can reach to $3 per unit per hour here for the variable manufacturing overhead. $3 plus $5. We have here $8 for the manufacturing overhead in total. Okay, this is the manufacturing overhead budget. In the next video, we'll move to selling and administrative budgets and other budgets related to operating, and continue for the financial budget for comprehensive budget. Thank you.